In this video we're going to look at how to use the Quick Start Guide to use the Success Profile Builder and Shortlist Pro. It will only take a few minutes. So when you log in, you'll probably end up here at the sort of Start Here dashboard place. And the first place we want to look at is the questionnaire. So you want to know, where do you send your candidates? And that would be here. So this URL is unique to you and your account, and what you can do here is you can make some customizations, and let's just show you these. So when it first arrives, this is usually a much longer URL, so you can go to here and modify the actual URL by something that you wish. So you can put your own company name or the project name or something in here. And the other thing you can do, of course, you can upload your logo so that when the candidates land on that page, it's your logo that's displayed, not the People Maps one. You can also fully customize all the content in that page. So let me just quickly let you see what this page looks like. So here's an example. So again, if you uploaded your logo, it would appear here at the top, and then you can write something in this section above the questionnaire, and you can modify this text down here. So tell them something about the job. This is actually where you're selling the job. So say something that encourages them to actually fill in the application. You then can also, you can select a different language for the questionnaire. So if you have a target a specific audience, you might need a second account if you want to run one, say, in English and also one in, say, Spanish. Then you just need a second account, and there's no extra charge for additional accounts, and you can transfer credits between accounts as well. So it's all very easy to set up. Most of it's set up for you. And finally, there's the thank you page. So once someone has completed the questionnaire and completed the registration form stroke job application form, then they're presented with a thanks for completing that, and you can of course edit that to say anything you want. And also you can put links here, so if this is part of your overall process, then once they've completed this, you would put the link to what to do next. It's also helpful if you tell them what will happen next, set their expectations as regards how long it will be before they hear from you, and how they will hear. You're going to send an email or are you going to phone them? So stuff like that is very helpful. So that's the questionnaire, and you'll want to set that up and complete it as part of your trial. So if you're still looking at People Maps, then go and complete that as a candidate so that you know the full experience that they're going through. The second place I want to take you to, if we go over to Tools, and say this video we're looking exclusively at Success Profile Builder and Shortlist Pro. So if we go over to Tools, the main thing to look at here is the Custom User Registration Form. Now, there's a standard name, email and basic details that happens at the end of the personality questionnaire, and that might be all you need. However, if you want to ask more questions, then you can ask anything you like simply by putting your question into this box here. If you're using this on multiple job roles, then you probably want to add things like the job reference number, so that if you've got different types of job been using this system, then you can easily identify who they are and what they're applying for. And you get options as regards whether you want a yes/no button, which is very helpful if you want to include it into the Shortlist Pro filter, which I'll show you in a second. A short text box for short one-line answers, one-word answers, and a text area if you're looking for more detail. You also have the option to whether you want the question to be mandatory, so they must answer it or they can't submit their application, and also if you want their answers to be displayed in the Shortlist Pro results. Now, a word of caution here, try and keep this to the yes/no and perhaps the job reference. You want one-word answers, because this has to be displayed in a table along with a lot of other data, so lengthy answers are just going to be messy and not easy to work with. So, but you can include pretty much anything in the Shortlist Pro results, and you can therefore use those results as part of your filtering and analysis. So have a play with that. It's pretty straightforward and you'll soon work it out. The other thing I'll show you while we're here, two other things. One is the distance calculation. So if you're going to be using distance, i.e. how far the candidate is going to have to travel to get to the place of work, if you feel that's a factor, which it is for many, then include your country and postcode. So you should actually include here, UK and the postcode. So if you're in USA, put USA and your zip code. So just so that Google, some countries use very similar postcodes and zip code formats, so Google is likely to default to USA if you don't specify. We use the Google Maps algorithms, etc. in the background, and what it does, it calculates the distance between where the candidate lives and the place of work. You may want to prioritise in candidates that live closer to the place of work. Certainly this is often the case for hourly paid jobs. And I say there's also the gender neutrality facility, which I don't think we will not be using in this facility here. Okay, so that's the setup and configuration. That's pretty much the end of the setup and configuration. Let's go now look at results. I say most of this is configured and set up for you by People Maps or People Maps representative. So let's first look at the Success Profile Builder. So there's two ways you can approach this. This long URL here takes you to the success, it's the work environment analyzer. So it's the Success Profile Builder questionnaire. And let me open this up in a new window and let you see what it looks like. So what this does is it actually asks the line manager questions specifically about the work environment. What's actually there, not what they want from a person. The trouble when you ask any employer, any line manager, including myself, what they want, well, of course we all want Superman, but this doesn't look at it that way. What we look at here is, what is the environment? What have you got? What will you be placing people into? And we work from that basis, because whatever the environment is, there'll be a percentage of the population that can cope with that environment and even thrive in it. And there'll be probably the majority of the population who will struggle with that environment and always find it quite difficult to cope with the basic environment. So you can, if you're a consultant or an agency, then you can actually send that URL, this one here, to your client, and you can say, if you complete that questionnaire, and it must be completed by someone who understands the job really well, then if you can send it to them and say, can you complete this, and I will run an analysis on your work environment so that we can get a better feel for the kind of people we should be hiring. Or your other option is you can complete that yourself, and you simply do that by clicking on here, create a new work environment, and that allows you to do it from within the system. So the choice is yours. So let's go back in and look at an example of what the work environment analyzer report actually looks like. We call it WHEAT for short, but it's all part of the Success Profile Builder. So if we click on here, we can see an example. This is where you also see how many credits you've got for each of the products. So if you come in here, there's an introduction, and it then talks about, it describes the work environment in general. It then looks at creativity. So what we're seeing here is this is a fast-paced environment. It's all about doing things quickly. Speed matters. So this is the kind of stuff we're starting to get a feel for. People work long hours. Meetings are not a big thing. They're pretty short. In this case here, the employees has a lot of control of their environment and how they spend their time. And the line manager is pretty demanding. He wants everything yesterday. So it's a general broad brush, but it's enough to give us an indication of what this environment is and what it isn't. And we won't really use the People Maps map very much. This is really for when you're using Interview Pro range of reports. But roughly speaking, the kind of people you're going to find are more or less going to be found in this general area of the map. But if you're only using Success Profile Builder and Shortlist Pro, then what you really want to focus on are the score topics. Each topic looks at a very specific aspect of personality. So in this case here, we're looking at willing to cold call on the telephone or face-to-face. Now this is, some people have a lot more natural resistance to cold calling than others. And like all things, of course, we can learn it, we can accommodate, we can adapt. However, we're looking at naturals, we're looking at people who have the least resistance and who will do things most willingly, most naturally on these specific issues. So you can see that at 87, this is someone who really has no problem lifting the phone and talking to strangers. And what we're seeing here, this is another aspect, so actively listens and seeks to understand what customers say and mean. So clearly this person's not scoring quite so high. It's not disaster, it's 60, it's kind of passable, but it's not in the green. And then we move on to, in this example, your endless patience at solving customer problems. Well, now you're definitely running into problem areas. You've dropped below 50. You're definitely looking at, this is not a strong point for this particular candidate. And of course, when you see scores like 98, then you know this is someone who really is a natural at this. Now, these scores and these topics are actually set up and configured by People Maps at the People Maps side of things. So based on a discussion that you have had with a People Maps representative, these will be the topics that have been allocated to you. And there's a huge range of these topics. And typically we only recommend that you work with around 4 or 5, certainly less than 10, because it just becomes unwieldy within the system itself. So if you're needing advice and want to talk more about which topics to use, then just contact your People Maps representative and we can arrange that for you. So the next thing we want to look at is back to view results. I'm going to look at Shortlist Pro. So Shortlist Pro, the idea behind this now is that you use this to compare all your candidates against your success profile. So you now have an idea from the success profile what it is you're looking for, what kind of scores you're looking for, and you can use that to whittle large numbers down to short numbers. And ultimately, there are people that matter. So for instance, if we were looking for people, let's say we look at these scores and this endless patience, so maybe it's a customer service role, so we know that having endless patience and solving customers' problems is very important. So if we put in a score here of, let's say, 80, then we can run a search on that. And what it will do is it will look at all the candidates that we've got, and it's now taken what we started with was 102, and it's now whittled that down to 36. So that's quite a lot of whittling in a very short space of time. But now you know that everybody that you're looking at here certainly has plenty of patience when it comes to solving customers' problems. Now that might not be the end of the story, but at least you're now starting to whittle it down. So maybe you want to also look at something else. Maybe you want to say, yeah, and have they got a driving license? So let's see if that makes any difference to things. But yeah, that's just taking another dozen off, and we're now down to 21. So you see how this works here, and you can reset this at any time. Just remove it and refresh the page, and it will all come back to 0 again. Oops. There we go, reset. So this is, so here are the personality topics that we're specifically looking at. And up here are the custom fields and questions. Now these are questions that we set up in the custom user registration form that we decided we wanted to include in this Shortlist Pro table. So it means that we can actually use these questions to filter candidates. So let's say that this was a sales job, then we're only going to look at candidates with previous sales experience. So you simply click yes, hit search, and that's one of your criteria. So again, let me just take that back. Let me get back to everybody up again. Okay, so that's everybody. Back to the 102, and anyone with sales experience, yes, and we do search. And interesting, okay, in this example actually I don't have anybody who's got previous sales experience. Nobody answered yes on that one. So what about, let's try a driving license. Let's just look at that. Okay, there you go. So that halved the list down to 55 have a driving license. So that's how you play with that, and literally you can put as many of these scores in as you like, or just use 2 or 3 of your main ones. It helps you prioritize what's really important. So all of these topics will matter, but some will be deal breakers, some will really matter, and this is where your judgment falls into place, where you really have to use your own judgment to make sure that you're picking the things that matter most. It's very rare that anyone comes with, in fact it's almost impossible that anyone scores high for everything in the world. Wherever they've got strength, they'll have corresponding weaknesses somewhere else, and that's what we're looking at here. But ultimately you're looking to help you identify people who are naturals, people who most closely resemble the success profile that you have decided to target. And that's it. The other thing, finally, you can see here is if you click on any of the names here, then it'll actually take you into a more detailed breakdown of their answers. So all the answers to the application and all the score topics showed, instead of on a table, actually as the gauges themselves. So it's visually much stronger, much easier to see. And we've also used the distance facility here, which again is a factor. So you might want to prioritise on people who stay within a short distance of the work. If someone's travelling more than an hour to get to work, they might be looking elsewhere for a job closer to home. It's a significant factor for people these days. So it's just another factor, and you can put it in along with personality and along with anything else that you feel is important.